Hello, economics students. Hey, take a look at this photograph I have here. What do you see? Well, you see a fireworks display, right? So, I'm guessing that if you're watching this video, there's a pretty good chance you have seen pretty impressive fireworks displays in your life, and you received enjoyment from them. So here's my question. When you went to watch and enjoy a fireworks display, how much did you pay to see that display? You enjoyed it? Surely you paid money to see it, right? Well, of course you didn't. And why didn't you pay money to see that fireworks display? Well, let's think about it. How are they going to keep you from enjoying the fireworks display if you really want to see it? Okay, anyone who's within a mile radius of a fireworks display is going to be able to watch the fireworks and enjoy it. They cannot charge you to watch a fireworks display. You just have to be within visual proximity of it, and there's no way they can keep everyone out within a 1 mile radius of a fireworks display. It just can't be done. So that gets us to the topic of our discussion today, and we're going to be talking about public goods and private goods. And a fireworks display is a public good, but most of the things that you buy at the store are private goods. So let's look first at some private good characteristics. Private goods have something called rivalry. When one person buys a product for consumption, it's not available to anyone else. So for example, if I go buy a shirt at the store, that shirt, once I buy it, is not available to anyone else. That shirt is mine. That's rivalry. I bought it, it's mine. You can't use it unless I allow you to use it. Private goods also have something called excludability. Sellers can keep those who do not buy a product from obtaining the benefits from it. Again, let's use the shirt as an example. The seller will allow me to benefit and enjoy the shirt as long as I pay for it. And those who do not choose to pay for it, well, the sellers can keep them from obtaining the benefits of it. If I don't pay for that shirt, I can't use that shirt and enjoy that shirt. That's excludability. So private goods have rivalry and excludability. How about public goods? Well, public goods have non-rivalry. One person's consumption of a good or a service does not prevent the consumption by others. So for example, the case of a fireworks display. I consume the fireworks display. That is, I go watch it and enjoy it. My ability to watch and enjoy the fireworks display does not keep anyone else from enjoying and watching the fireworks display. That's non-rivalry. Non-excludability. I can't prevent people from benefiting from a good or a service once it comes into existence. Again, looking at the fireworks display, those who are sponsoring that fireworks display, those who are shooting off the rockets and all, cannot prevent people from benefiting from it once that fireworks explodes and once that display comes into existence. Anyone can benefit it. I can't keep people from enjoying the fireworks. So public goods have non-rivalry and non-excludability. They also have something called the free rider program. Once a good or a service is produced, everyone, everyone, even non-payers, benefit from the service. In the fireworks example, let's say I tried to charge people to see the fireworks. Well, even those who choose not to pay for the fireworks display would enjoy it. They would get to have a benefit from it because all they have to be is within visual range of the fireworks in order to receive enjoyment of it. So public goods will always have this free rider problem. You can't keep non-payers from enjoying or benefiting from the good or a service. So, some examples of public goods and services. Well, fireworks displays, obviously, we just talked about. Public art displays. An art museum like the Chicago Art Institute, that's a private service, okay? You have to pay money to go into the Chicago Art Museum, and if you choose not to pay that money, you don't get to see the art. But a public art display, such as you would find along the river in Rockford, that cannot have excludability. Anyone can go by and enjoy that artwork. Okay, so that's a public good. Public music concerts, similar thing. If you tried to force people to pay to see a concert in the music shell in Mississippi Park in Rockford, well, there are going to be people who will still enjoy that music. They might not be able to get as good a view, but they could be just outside the perimeter of the music shell, maybe in the woods there, and they will still get to hear the music. So that would be a public good or service. National security is an interesting example. Let's say we tried to privatize national security. Only those people who are willing to pay for national security get national security. So let's say that the United States is attacked by some rogue nation, and my next door neighbor paid for national security, but I did not. Well, they can't just defend my next door neighbor. They're going to have to defend everyone in the country. So national security is a public good. You wouldn't be able to just provide national security to those people who are willing to buy it. Everyone in the nation would receive the benefit of it. Streetlights are another good example. We could force people perhaps to buy streetlights, but those who choose not to buy are still going to get the benefit of it. I'm going to be driving down that street even if I didn't pay for the streetlights. Music file sharing websites, public good. How about broadcast television and radio? That's a public good too. But they have tried, that is the networks who provide viewing and music and whatnot on radio and TV, they've tried to privatize it somewhat by forcing you to watch or listen to advertisements. And that's how, of course, those organizations get their money, by forcing you to watch or listen to an ad. Alrighty, let's move on. There's also something called quasi-public goods. What's that? A quasi, that word quasi kind of means not complete or half, okay? Quasimodo was the character in Hunchback of Notre Dame. Quasimodo means partially formed. Quasi is partial. So there are partial public goods. We call them quasi-public goods. A quasi-public good is a good or a service that could be produced with excludability, but they offer benefits to those who do not pay. Okay, so let's look at some examples. Education. We could force all schools in the United States to be private education where you'd have to pay. Okay, and if I didn't have any children, I wouldn't have to pay for any education, but I would still benefit from it. How? Well, because in order to have good medical services, for example, people have to go to school. And even if I don't pay for that for the doctor's education, I still benefit from it, because if I get sick, I go to the doctor, he's going to get me well, hopefully, even though I didn't pay for his education. Education is a quasi-public good. The fact that we have education in our country, even if you chose not to pay for it, everyone's going to receive some kind of benefit. We will live in a better society if we have an educated population. Roads and highways. We could conceivably make every single road and highway in the United States a toll road. And only those people who paid the toll, then, you know, they're going to, if you want to ride, you're going to have to pay a toll on the highway. But even those people who do not own automobiles would still benefit from the roads and highways, even though they don't have a car and they will never pay a toll. How do they benefit? Well, everyone has to go to the store sometimes. And the goods that are on the store shelves, they had to get to the store in trucks using roads and highways. So I benefit. The fact that the store has things for me to buy, those things that I can buy were brought on roads and highways, and now I have a benefit. If I need police or fire protection, the police and fire departments are going to use the roads and highways to get to my house. So I benefit from it, even though I don't have a car, never paid a toll for the highway. So police and fire protection would also be a quasi-public good. Let's say that I don't pay for police protection. Well, my neighbor does, and let's say that my neighbor's house was broken into. The police come and they catch the burglar who broke into my neighbor's house. Guess what? I have a benefit from this, because that burglar is now caught and he will not be able to come and burglarize my house. Even though I didn't pay for the police protection, I'm getting a benefit. Similar with fire. If I chose not to buy fire protection, but my next door neighbor did, if his house catches fire, fire department puts it out, that fire cannot spread to my house. So I have a benefit there by the fact that my neighbor bought fire protection even though I did not. Sewage disposal is another example. Even though I may not pay for sewage disposal myself, I will benefit from it because we'll live in a cleaner environment if we have adequate sewage disposal. Preventative medicine, flu shots, good example. If I choose not to buy a flu shot, but most of the people around me do, they're not going to catch the flu. Therefore, I cannot catch the flu from them. I'm benefiting because there's less likelihood I will catch the flu because most of the people around me will not, because they have been vaccinated against the flu. I can't catch it from those who received a vaccination. So even non-payers benefit. So how do we allocate resources to public goods and services? Well, remember, one of the key things about economics is scarcity. Scarcity suggests that public goods and services must take resources away from the market for private goods. You can't have everything, right? You have to choose. And if we choose to have public goods, then we have less resources available for private goods. Now, how does this happen? Well, it happens through taxation. Okay, so taxation for public goods reallocates resources from the private sector to the public sector. If our town wants to provide fire and police protection, we have to pay for that through taxation, and now the money that I'm spending on taxes cannot be used to spend on myself through the private sector. It takes resources away. So taxation is how we get resources allocated to the public goods. Okay. That gets us to our last topic for today, and we're really moving fast, so if you need to stop and pause or rewind, be sure to do that. I want to make sure you get everything you need in the notes. An externality is an economic side effect that generates benefits or costs to someone other than the producer or the consumer. So let's give you an example of an externality. What's this lady doing? She's a beekeeper, okay? Why do we have beekeepers? Because beekeepers use their bees who produce honey, and now the beekeeper will collect the honey and sell the honey. So that's what her job is. Her job is to sell and make money from honey. Now, there's an externality associated with her profession. She benefits from the production of honey because she gets money for the honey. The people who buy her honey get a benefit. They get the enjoyment of her honey. But someone who may not be buying or selling that honey is also receiving a benefit. And in this case, notice in the background we have a farm field. The farmer in this case is receiving a benefit from the presence of that beekeeper. Why? Because bees are pollinators. So this farmer's field is being pollinated by the beekeeper. Farmers love to have beekeepers because it does help to have a more productive crop. The pollination is necessary. So the fact that that beekeeper is there is producing an externality. The farmer may not buy the honey, he's not getting money for the honey, but he is getting a benefit from her presence through the pollination of her field. That's an externality. And in this case, it is a positive externality. It's a good thing. Positive externalities provide benefits to non-producers or consumers. The farmer is receiving a positive externality from the beekeeper. But there are also negative externalities which provide cost to non-producers or non-consumers. Now, can we think of other examples of positive and negative externalities? Well, here's a picture, a beautiful redbud tree. If this were across the street from my house, I would be getting a positive externality by the presence of that tree there. Okay, I didn't buy the tree, and yet I get to see the beauty of that tree every April and May when it comes into bloom. That's a positive externality. Even though I didn't pay for the tree, I get a benefit from it. Flu shots I talked about briefly. The fact that you get a shot, some people choose to get a shot. Those who do not get a shot still get a benefit. Okay, there's a positive externality being generated by the fact that this woman is getting a flu shot, because others who don't get flu shots will be less likely to catch the flu as a result of those who do get the shot. That's a positive externality. How about this? This is a negative externality. I don't know what this factory is producing, but let's assume that I don't buy anything that that factory produces, nor do I get any money. I don't work there. I don't own the factory. I get no money from the production of that facility, but I'm bearing a cost, and the cost is through the air pollution. It's ugly, and it's also unhealthy. I might have a shorter lifespan. That's a real cost to me as a result of that pollution. That's a negative externality. Same thing with mining. Now imagine if you lived in this house down here, and you have this big strip mine right there. This guy's got a negative externality, a major negative externality on his property, assuming he does not own that mine, nor does he work there. Maybe he doesn't even buy the coal that's produced. you don't want to live next to that big ugly strip mine. He's got a negative externality there. That's why we have zoning laws in America, to reduce the incidence of negative externalities. And with that, we'll stop this presentation, check and see if there's a homework for you in Skyward.